we all find that place where we're being transformed and you're moving into those new territories of your life that kind of the old dies away and the new comes in. And for me, I'm very much of all or nothing, intense, or, you know, it's all in or not at all. And so finding a balance between not forcing what you want to happen, but allowing it to happen.
Right.
Being like too checked out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, sweet. So a couple of things I would say is that you've probably been told your all or nothing is wrong. And I just want to challenge that as a fundamental thing because I think it's probably bullshit. I think your all or nothing is because your scale is supposed to be bigger than what most people's are. And you have a tendency with that to intimidate or not. It might not go well for other people. The reason it wouldn't go well isn't because actually people can't handle bigness. It's that if you're not all the way dialed into your center in the bigness, then it doesn't wear well.
Right.
Okay, so then we get the question, how do we drop into the center? How do we actually do that? And a lot of it comes from just really not giving a shit what anybody else thinks. And really, really deeply listening and allowing for yourself to be as big and great and powerful as you actually are inside of that center. So walking around through life, are you a meditator or do you do? Okay, that's fine. It's not like a value-based question or anything. It's just like, what do you do or not do? That's cool. Not everybody's a meditator, and not everybody. That's not a bad thing. So let's just say that, for instance, when we did that meditation today, how you felt inside of that. Walk around with that all the time.
It's hard to do.
But then it's not. All it is a muscle. So have you ever started a new workout where somebody's like, okay, I want you to do this new thing. And you're like, I don't even have that muscle and I don't know what you're talking about. And there's no way I could possibly do it. But if you stick with it, maybe within a few weeks, because of who you are, especially, you rapidly know how to adapt and you rapidly know how to grow certain kinds of strength. So I want you to use that skill set. When you're in that eyes closed place, I want you to declare, if you believe it's hard, it will be. If you believe you're unlimited, then you are. You get to make it up the right way. So decide inside of that space that you're going to do certain things when your eyes are open, and then just go do it. And if you get a little bit off track, so part of what happens and why you get out of your center is that you'll push too hard. You'll try with your brain and you'll try to push through your biology. You'll try to push through what's true to try to do what your brain says you should do. Really common with overachievers, right? Like high functioning people that get stuff done in the world, they often do it in a way that's actually very damaging. So dropping back, if you're not in your center, it's because you're trying to push the car faster by pushing on the steering wheel. Okay, so just like drop back a little bit and be more in command of your ride. Okay, so rather than going fast, you drop back a little bit to find that center of gravity, and then you move forward as a powerhouse. You move forward as a contiguous whole rather than aspects of you moving forward. Just because your brain thinks it can go faster in that moment doesn't mean it's true. If you don't bring the rest of you with you, you're not powerful. You don't have your whole self, and it's not the same ride. So drop back. No more pushing on the steering wheel. Drop back, and then accelerate. Use the gas pedal, and you'll be able to feel the difference versus just the other one. It's kind of like smoke can start to come out of the engine. It's not that much fun.
Yeah, you kind of burn yourself out.
Yeah, and there's no way you're going to find your center when you're in that.
Right.
Pushing the steering wheel, smoke coming out of the engine. Why am I not feeling centered right now? There's something wrong with me. No, there's really actually not. Everything's actually innately awesome. You just need to be able to drop back and be in a flow, command feeling as you do that ride.
So I guess a second part of that would be, I think I have like self-worth issues tied to achievement.
Totally.
You know, and like part of, I've known that, and like working on the process of like decoupling yourself from that kind of like anchor of needing to perform or needing to achieve or needing to get things done. Do you have any suggestions on, how do you, I guess it's a deeper level of essentially fear, right?
Well, first off, I love it that you're even asking the question, right? So you're not only telling me about the symptom, you're telling me about the thing that's driving the symptom. And that's an amazing thing. So the fact that you know it and that you can say it, that you can name it, not good enough is the actual story. Yeah. Perfect. So sit inside of not feeling good enough. So some people would say here, Paint a coat of happy on that shit.
Right.
Let's affirmation it away.
Right.
Sorry, it's not going to work.
No.
You got a pile of shit. It's right here. It's called not feeling good enough. You paint on top of it.
It's still there.
It's gross. It's kind of worse. Think about what I just said. That is some gross stuff. That's some really gross shit. So what we really want to do is remove it, maybe give it a quick power wash, let it dry, and then we prime and paint, right? Like we got to do some steps in between. So rather than spending so much of your attention on skipping over that, and maybe if I push hard enough, impress enough people, whatever all the story is, the pile of shit will magically disappear, handle it, right? So does that have to be a big gnarly project? No, not really. And that's where a lot of us go wrong. So I want you to just be able, again, if we believe we can do it, then we can. I want you to be able to say, hey, on the one hand, there's a powerful part of me that's holding space here, and that part of me is going to allow for this thing to just handle itself. It's going to go on autopilot. Don't you love autopilot? Like, isn't that a fun feature, right? Like when something's just downloading on your computer and you get to walk away from it, you don't have to figure it out. So I want you to allow for whatever it is that's driving the not good enough and the experience of not good enough to be on autopilot handling itself. And then as you move through the world, I want you to find ways that you believe that you're good enough. So those are the more affirming things. And then I also want you to just sit in the very real experience of feeling the not good enough feeling. But rather than containing it and trying to be perfect about it, I want you to imagine that those feelings actually evaporate out of you as though, you know, it's like that mirage in the desert. When the heat comes up, it's like that. I want that all to leave. Remember on every aspect of your being, not just with your brain, that all of that is illusion. Welcome to being a human if you feel not good enough. I don't know anybody that has that experience. I've worked with people that run billions of dollar corporations and move massive things around in the world. They've got $1 zillion and they look awesome on paper. And guess what? Not good enough is there.
Yeah, that imposter syndrome.
Imposter syndrome, feeling icky, anxious, depressed, like they still can struggle with the same stuff. So don't do any of that external measuring. I want you to fall in love with who you are. And I'm serious about that. Fall in love with who you are. The way that you know how to unconditionally love someone else, because I know you have that capacity. And then inside of that space, the not good enough will be largely resolved. But you've got to work through some of those chunks of it. Don't make it a big, huge, giant project, story, or heavy, because it doesn't have to be. But do the work. Pile the poo somewhere else. And then the next thing you know, it's a clean space. And you can do anything you want to inside of that space. The more that you clear, the bigger the space. The bigger the space, the more capacity. The more capacity, the more strength. Then you get really freaking masterful at transformation. Just don't lose the plot. Because if you get stuck in the what's not real, it's really hard to be a badass at getting it gone.
Yeah. Thank you.
You're welcome.